folks, welcome in. It is racing time. Well, actually, it's going to be recap racing time for the next couple of weeks on Seven Rivers Racing. I'm Dan Dyker along with Al Losey. We've got a special guest in the program as we're going to bring you champions from the La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway over the next couple of weeks. And then our last show, the end of October, I think is October 27th, is going to be an entire video recap front to back of everything you've seen of the La Crosse Speedway throughout the season, including a lot of stuff from Oktoberfest. And we are jammed full of results from Oktoberfest on the program today. We're going to start things off right off the bat. A lot of good video to show and a lot of congratulations going out. I'm still trying to get the voice back here. I actually wrote it down. I recorded 38 hours of announcing Thursday through Sunday of Fest this year.
That's an awful lot, but you know, you got to enjoy the great weather.
Oh, the weather was just outstanding. The weather racing gods were with us all 4 days. And we started things off with a fantastic crowd for a Thursday night. And in the years I've been there watching this, I think we had one of the better crowds on the Thursday night to start off Oktoberfest because a lot of campers are still coming in. A lot of people aren't there yet because they have work schedule conflicts and things of that nature. But we had an outstanding crowd for a Thursday night. We started things off. Jay Herbst started the night 25 points ahead of Todd Korish as those two went head-to-head for the points championship. And it all came down, and you're going to see in the video here in just a couple of minutes, a man that kind of started the season on the right foot. He ends the season on the right foot, but he was very sick, and we kind of wondered if that may have played into Steve Carlson through the rest of the Oktoberfest race weekend, as he just did not have strong performances. We're sure the last two right here, things were getting really tight. Steve Carlson running out in front. Todd Korish at least trying to capture the feature, if nothing else, as Jay Herbst was kind of sitting back, and I want to say 9th or 10th, and Jay only had to finish 13 points, the 13th spot in the feature to capitalize on the points race. And I think what he did was he did it smart. He found himself a little rocking chair area, no one in front, no one in behind, and that's how he finished the race. I mean, why put yourself to the test and have a chance to get knocked out of a race?
Exactly. Well, you're racing smart. You got a championship. You don't get that very often. It probably wasn't quite a rocking chair, but you're right. He found his comfortable zone in where his car was. He didn't want to put his car in harm's way and sailed to a victory for a championship.
Well, Steve Carlson, very sick when I had him on the podium that night, and I know he just lives almost right across the street from the racetrack, and we asked him if his car was going to be sponsored by NyQuil and Kleenex, and I just did not perform like you would see Steve Carlson perform during an Oktoberfest.
There did seem to be, other than Thursday night, of course, where he dominated, it did seem like there was a little bit of something off. It just wasn't his normal work, and you know his equipment was probably on, and he probably just couldn't feel the car as well as he would have liked to.
Well, Jay Herbst ended up winning the points championship 2 years ago, lost by a slim point last year, came back, got it again this year. Todd Korish ends the season second at points, 17 behind. And our guest in the program is Jay Herbst. We're going to bring him into the program here in just a couple of moments. Sportsman Feature was kind of interesting. Jake Arneson, if you remember back to the Eve of Destruction, Jake's entry flipped over into turn 2, ended up breaking his arm. He has, I think, two plates and 8 screws in his arm. He's got a cast from his fingertips almost all the way up to his shoulder, and he won this Sportsman race driving with one arm. And that's got to be, I mean, you've got Greg Scheck, you've got Randy Humfeld, you've got Danny Gilster, who probably had one of the best weekends of any area driver. That's going to be hard to do, power that car, because that's his steering arm.
Oh, yeah, and the people don't realize how much the G-forces are when you're going into the corner and your whole body is being thrown, plus the insides, you can feel the insides of your arms and things like that as you're going in, and if there's casts or something broken, that's really tough. And
of course, you saw Rick Schermerhorn right there, and you know, anytime Sherman's on the track, he kind of makes everybody else step up their game. Danny Gilster is the 2011 track champion. He also finished 3rd in national points, got the invite to the NASCAR banquet in North Carolina, and he had probably one of the best weekends of any driver at the La Crosse Speedway. He was in about 4 or 5 different classes when it came to the sportsman entries and whatnot, and we're going to talk about him here a little bit more in the program as well. Thunderstocks ended their season, and it came down to a 3-way driver race for the point championship. Andy Moore, this is the way to go out in style. If you're going to end the season with a points championship, heck, why not just win the feature too?
Well, he has been so good all year, and he had a good starting spot, and the car was just working very well. So it definitely put an exclamation point on his championship season.
Racing side by side with Jake Krieger and Rob Christian almost all the way through this one here, and Moore nails down the point championship. Jason Bolsher took second in the feature, second in the championship standings, 12 points behind Moore. I heard some scuttlebutt of what Andy Moore. You know, the track rules are if you win the championship and only the Thunderstock, Hornet, and the Sportsman years, you can't race the next year in that same class. And I heard some scuttlebutt as to what Andy Moore is going to be doing next year. And that's going to be kind of interesting. I'm not going to break the bubble here. We're going to have to wait till March when the show starts up again. But I think what I heard the other night is going to hold true to fashion, and it's going to bring some interesting racing to a class out at La Crosse. Finally, the Bolden Construction Outlaws, Johnny Olson out of Sparta, Wisconsin, trying to hold on and win the points championship. The big guns came out, and the interesting part of this race, that 68 car, folks, is a super late model. Dan Young took the ultimate challenge. He qualified fastest and broke the track record. He had to start in the front of the field on the tail end of the lead lap. So he starts on the pole.
Oh, boy.
A lap down. If he makes it all the way around, passes everybody, and wins the race, he gets the extra $100, which he did.
That makes it for a fun night. Super late models are just plain fun. On that short track, that had to be a blast.
That's the first time we've ever had a super late model on that short track, and I'm hoping some of the other drivers out there saw that and said, wow, if he's turning a 13.9, then I think we can do the same thing. And hopefully next year for Oktoberfest, we get a couple of more entries with the super late models. But Dan Young got the $100. He got the victory. But Johnny Olson out of Sparta, the 2011 La Crosse Bolden Construction Outlaw Champion, that's his second consecutive title. And I asked him on the podium at the end of the night if he was going to go for a three-peat next year. He said, I'm retiring, I'm going golfing. Well, I could never see John Olson picking up a golf club, let alone standing still without a kegger in the back of his golf cart. That's not going to happen.
That's pretty darn funny.
When we come back, talking about Dan Young, he had probably the biggest spill of the entire race weekend. We're going to show you, too, not from just the front straightaway, but turn one as well, as the racing action continues on one of our wrap-up shows here on Seven Rivers Racing KQEG TV.